Jai Hind students. Today we are going to start new chapter of class 11th chemistry. Name of the chapter is Redox reaction. This is first chapter in second book. Before starting this topic, before starting this chapter, let us understand what does this redox mean. If you see this term, name of the chapter redox, it consists of two terms. One is reduction and the other one is oxidation. These two terms are merged to make one term, that is redox. Why it is done so? Because whenever reduction is taking place or oxidation is taking place, if oxidation is taking place, reduction will be taking place simultaneously. These two reactions take place simultaneously. That is why it is called as redox reaction. Now, moving ahead towards the topic, now let us understand what is oxidation and what is reduction separately. So, oxidation reduction reactions are also called as redox reactions. All redox reactions involve transfer of electron from one atom to another atom. Now coming to examples. If you see examples, you will find it in two ways. Definition of oxidation and reduction can be given in 2 ways. One is in terms of oxygen and the other one is in terms of hydrogen. How this can be given? If you see oxidation reaction is a reaction of gaining or capturing of oxygen by a substance. Capturing of oxygen by a substance. If we see reactions involved in this, now the first reaction that is given here is CH4 reacts with oxygen. CH4 is methane. Methane reacts with oxygen to give carbon dioxide and H2O, water. In this reaction, if we see CH4 is changed to CO2, means carbon has lost its hydrogen and it is gaining oxygen. So we can say that CH4 methane is oxidized because carbon is losing oxygen and it is gaining, carbon is gaining oxygen and losing its hydrogen. So we can say oxidation is gaining of oxygen or losing hydrogen. Another example in terms of oxygen is oxidation or reaction of phosphorus with oxygen. In this reaction, we find that phosphorus is reacting with oxygen and it is giving P2O5. Can you see P2O5? Means oxygen is added to phosphorus. So this is what kind of reaction? This is oxidation reaction. Now coming to reduction reaction in terms of oxygen only. If we see that in any reaction, any oxide loses its oxygen, then it is called as reduction. Let us see first example, CuO. CuO, it loses its oxygen and changes to copper. It loses its oxygen and changes to copper. Means what kind of reaction is this? This is reduction reaction. Similarly, Fe2O3. This is changed to iron. Fe2O3 is losing its oxygen and changing to Fe. So after losing its oxygen, we can say that this is kind of reaction, what we can call it is reduction reaction. So, what do we understand with these three examples that we have done? Oxidation. Now let us define oxidation. Oxidation can be defined as addition of oxygen or electronegative element. Oxygen itself is electronegative. So we can say addition of oxygen or any electronegative element to a substance, or we can say removal of hydrogen or any electropositive. Hydrogen is also electropositive. So removal of hydrogen or any electropositive element. Gaining oxygen or any electronegative element. This is called as oxidation. Reverse or just opposite is the case of reduction. In reduction, we can see reduction is removal of oxygen or electronegative element from a substance, or we can say it is addition of hydrogen or electropositive element. So this way we can define what are oxidation and what are reduction. Now coming to another concept of oxidation and reduction, that is in terms of gain or loss of electrons. So here we can see one example is taking. So we can say reactions where electrons are transferred from one atom to another are redox reaction. In terms of, here we are going to define or to understand redox reactions in terms of electrons. So if any reaction there is gain or loss of electron, then it is called as redox reaction. Now let us see one example. Very easy example and very common example is formation of NaCl. Okay. If you see in this reaction in formation of NaCl, NaCl is formed when sodium reacts with chlorides Na plus Cl2, it gives NaCl. If you see carefully, on the sodium we have positive charge and on the chlorine we have negative charge. That means sodium on the reactant side, there is no charge on the sodium, but after reaction, sodium changes to sodium positive. That means it is losing its one electron. Sodium, after losing its one electron, it changes to sodium positive. So this is oxidation. Whereas the electron that sodium is losing, chloride is gaining or accepting that electron and changes to Cl negative. So this is reduction. So we can say that when there is loss of electron, then it is oxidation. When there is gain of electron, then it is reduction. Now coming to oxidizing agent. The substance which oxidizes other is called as oxidizing agent. On the other, it itself gets reduced. So keeping in mind, let us define oxidizing and reducing agent. Oxidizing agent is a reagent which increases the oxidation number of element of a given substance. These reagents are called oxidant. Right now, concept of oxidation number is not introduced. That we will be doing later on. Similarly, reducing agent, a reagent that lowers the oxidation number. Okay, the reagent that increases oxidation number is oxidizing agent. And what is reducing agent? The reagent that lowers the oxidation number is reducing agent. So, this we have done. Sodium is oxidized. Cl is reduced. So we can say sodium is reducing agent. Sodium itself is oxidized. It is acting as reducing agent. Chlorine itself is reduced, but it is acting as oxidizing agent. After that, researches have been done, and it was found that the reactions in which neither oxygen nor hydrogen is involved, but still oxidation reduction was taking place. So the terms were further developed, further improved. Okay. So let us come to the concept of oxidation and reduction in terms of oxidation number. Oxidation occurs when an atom's oxidation state increases during a reaction. Let us see example of carbon. If you see state of carbon in this reaction, carbon reacts with oxygen. changes to CO2 and 2H2O. In this, you just focus on carbon. On carbon with red ink, -4 is written towards reactant side. Can you see here? This. But on the product side, it is +4. Means its oxidation number is changing from -1 to +4. Means it is increased. Okay. Oxidation number or oxidation state is increased. So when there is increase in oxidation number, the process is called as oxidation. Whereas when there is decrease in oxidation number, then it is called as reduction. Let us take one example of reduction also from the same reaction. Oxidation state of oxygen is 0. But you can see it is changed to -2 on the product after reaction. Means oxidation state is reduced. So such reaction is called as reduction. So now we can study this reaction in terms of oxidation and reduction, that is redox reaction. We can say that oxidation of carbon is taking place and reduction of oxygen is taking place. And both the processes are taking place simultaneously. As these two processes are taking place simultaneously, so we can say that this reaction is redox reaction. Yes, reactions that are energetically favorable are said to be spontaneous. They can happen, but the activation energy may be so large that the rate is very slow. The relative reactivity of metals can be used to determine if some redox reactions are spontaneous. So we can say that these reactions are taking place. Some of the reactions are spontaneous, means they themselves are taking place. No source of energy is given. Energy is not supplied from outside, but it is taking place itself. So some of the reactions, we can say that some of the redox reactions and oxidation reduction reactions are what kind of reaction? Some of the oxidation reduction reactions are spontaneous in nature. I hope this topic or the concept of oxidation and reduction is clear to you. If you have any doubt, you can leave your doubt in the comment section. Thank you.